If you ever stay in an Airbnb, check the mirrors first. Not for hidden cameras, but for doors. Because 3 months ago, my girlfriend and I rented a cabin in northern Vermont for a weekend getaway. And on the second night, we realized the noises inside the walls weren't random. Someone had been watching us the entire time. Claire found the place online after one of our worst fights. We'd been together 4 years, but lately everything felt exhausted, rehearsed. Every conversation somehow turned into an argument. Work was draining me. She said I was emotionally absent. I told her she was overthinking everything. It just kept getting worse. So when she sent me the Airbnb listing, I agreed almost immediately. Secluded woodland cabin, no neighbors, no distractions. Perfect digital detox. That should have been the first red flag. The listing had almost no reviews, just 6 glowing 5-star ratings that all sounded strangely similar. Life-changing experience. You'll never forget your stay. The host sees everything. That last one bothered me enough to mention it to Claire, but she laughed it off. Said it was probably some quirky inside joke from previous guests. The drive up to Vermont took nearly 6 hours. By the time we reached the mountain road leading to the cabin, it was already getting dark. The trees were so dense they blocked most of the moonlight, and GPS stopped working about 20 minutes before we arrived. That was another thing. The host never answered calls. He only communicated through messages in the app, always short, emotionless responses. The final message arrived right before we lost signal. Key is under the flower pot. Please follow house rules carefully. Underneath that was a list. Do not lock the basement door. Ignore noises in the walls. Do not unplug the bedroom radio. If you hear knocking after 2 a.m., stay in your room. Claire read it twice and laughed nervously. Okay, that's definitely weird. I agreed, but part of me assumed it was just some immersive horror-themed rental trying too hard to be creepy. At least, that's what I told myself. The cabin looked normal from the outside. Small, rustic, 2 stories. But when we stepped inside, something immediately felt wrong. Not visibly wrong, just off. The air smelled stale, like wet wood and dust trapped behind old walls. The furniture was spotless, but there were almost no personal items anywhere. No family photos, no decorations besides a single antique mirror hanging across from the staircase. Claire noticed the radio first, an old wooden thing sitting on the nightstand in the master bedroom. It was already on. Soft static crackled through the speaker. I reached toward it instinctively, but Claire stopped me. The rules said not to unplug it. I laughed and said, "You actually care about that?" She didn't answer immediately. Then she quietly said, "I don't know. This place just feels weird." The first night started normally. We made dinner, opened wine, tried pretending we were relaxing. But around midnight, we both heard it. Footsteps, slow, deliberate footsteps directly above our bedroom. Claire sat upright instantly. "There's someone upstairs." "There is no upstairs," I reminded her. The listing clearly showed the cabin layout. The second floor only covered half the house, and there was nothing above the bedroom except attic space. The footsteps stopped. Then something scraped across the ceiling. A long, dragging sound. Claire whispered, "Daniel." Before I could answer, the radio crackled louder, and through the static, I heard breathing. Not normal breathing, wet, slow, close to the microphone. Then a voice whispered, "They're awake." I unplugged the radio immediately. The whispering stopped. Claire looked terrified. Why would someone do that? I tried explaining it away. Hidden speakers, Bluetooth prank. Maybe the owner monitored guests for security. But honestly, I didn't believe any of it. Neither did she. We barely slept that night. At exactly 3:14 a.m., I woke up needing water. The room was freezing. Claire was asleep beside me, but something else pulled my attention. The mirror across the room. At first, I thought I was hallucinating from exhaustion, but the reflection looked wrong. The bedroom door in the reflection was slightly open. In reality, it was closed. I stared at it for several seconds before slowly turning back toward the actual door, still closed. When I looked at the mirror again, the reflected door was fully open now, and there was someone standing behind it. I jumped so hard I nearly fell off the bed. The figure vanished instantly. Claire woke up, panicking. What happened? I couldn't even explain it properly. I just grabbed my phone flashlight and searched the room like an idiot, while my heart tried punching through my ribs. Nothing was there. But when my flashlight passed over the mirror, I noticed scratch marks along the frame. Deep scratches, like someone had repeatedly tried prying it off the wall. The next morning, Claire wanted to leave. I wanted to agree, but the car wouldn't start. The wires under the hood had been cut cleanly. Claire stared at me in silence, and for the first time since arriving, neither of us tried rationalizing anything anymore. We packed our bags immediately. No signal, no internet, no nearby houses for miles. The only landline in the cabin produced nothing except static. That's when Claire noticed something near the kitchen floor vent. A smell. Rotting food. I knelt down beside the vent and pointed my flashlight through the metal slats. There was movement down there. Not an animal. A human eye reflecting the light. I stumbled backwards so violently I knocked over a chair. Claire screamed. The eye disappeared instantly. Then we heard fast, crawling sounds moving beneath the floorboards. We spent the next hour barricading the bedroom door. I kept convincing myself it had to be some homeless person hiding beneath the cabin. But deep down, I knew normal people don't crawl through walls silently watching strangers sleep. Claire kept crying quietly while I searched for anything we could use as a weapon. That's when I found the crawlspace door. Hidden behind a bookshelf in the hallway, the scratches on the floor showed it had been opened recently. I should have ignored it. I know that now. But fear does something strange to people. At some point, your brain decides knowing the truth is safer than imagining it. So I opened the door. A foul wave of heat rolled out from inside the wall. The passage was narrow, barely wide enough to crawl through, and someone had absolutely been living there. Empty water bottles, food wrappers, blankets, batteries, a stained mattress. Then I found the photographs. Dozens of Polaroids clipped to strings along the wooden beams. Every single one showed Airbnb guests sleeping. Different people, different dates. Some photos were taken inches from their faces. Claire was hyperventilating behind me when I found the worst photo. It was us, taken the night before. Claire asleep beside me, and standing near the bed, a tall man staring directly into the camera, wearing a smiling plastic mask. We ran back into the hallway and slammed the crawl space shut. Almost immediately, something slammed back from the other side. Once, twice, then scratching. Slow scratching, like fingernails dragging across wood. That night became a blur of panic. We pushed furniture against doors and windows while trying desperately to think. Then the radio turned back on by itself. Static exploded through the speaker, and suddenly, Voices. Several voices. Clear this time. Male subject is panicking. Female subject may attempt escape. Wait until lights out. No physical contact yet. Claire stared at me in horror. Those weren't ghosts. They were observers. Listening. Watching. Commentating. I smashed the radio against the wall. The voices stopped. Then, knocking echoed from somewhere inside the walls. Moving closer, Claire whispered, "Daniel, they're inside the house." The lights died seconds later. Complete darkness swallowed the cabin. Then, footsteps started circling our bedroom. Not one person, multiple. Slow footsteps, patient footsteps, like they knew we had nowhere to go. Claire suddenly grabbed my arm. "There's someone outside the window." I turned slowly. A face was pressed against the glass, white, smiling mask, motionless, watching us. Then another appeared beside it, and another. 3 figures standing silently in the rain, outside our bedroom window. Something crashed downstairs, the front door. They were coming inside. We ran, not outside, into the crawl space. I know that sounds insane, but terror destroys logic. We thought maybe the tunnels connected somewhere beyond the cabin. Behind us, heavy footsteps thundered through the house while Claire crawled ahead of me. The tunnels twisted endlessly through the walls, and everywhere we looked, more photographs. Hundreds now. Some guests smiling, some crying, some tied to chairs. One image showed a man desperately clawing at a basement door while masked figures watched from the shadows. Underneath the photo, someone had written, "Day 4. Claire suddenly froze ahead of me. "Daniel." Her flashlight illuminated a small, hidden room beneath the cabin. Computer monitors covered the walls. Live security feeds displayed nearly every room in the house, and seated calmly in front of them was an old man wearing headphones. He turned toward us slowly, not surprised, not alarmed, almost amused. "You weren't supposed to find this room yet," he said. Claire screamed at him to let us leave. The old man sighed. "You people always say the same thing." Then he pointed toward one of the monitors. There were hundreds of viewers watching a live stream of us inside the cabin. Comments flooded the screen. "Make them go back upstairs. Mask guys are the best part. The girl looks close to breaking." I felt physically sick. The old man explained everything, like discussing a business model. We weren't random victims. We were content. The isolated cabins, the fake reviews, the broken vehicles, the hidden tunnels, all intentional. People paid enormous amounts of money to watch guests psychologically unravel in real time. Some viewers even paid extra to participate. That's what the masked men were. Subscribers. Claire grabbed a screwdriver from the table and stabbed the old man in the neck before he finished speaking. Everything exploded into chaos. The monitors crashed sideways while alarms started blaring through the tunnels. And somewhere above us, dozens of footsteps erupted at once. We ran blindly through the crawl spaces while people screamed behind us. The tunnels suddenly opened into the basement. And that's when we saw the door. The basement door. The one we were told never to lock. Because it wasn't designed to keep us out. It was designed to let them in. Masked figures poured down the stairs while Claire and I forced the basement window open. Glass shredded my hands as we climbed into the storm outside. Behind us, the men kept coming. Not running, walking, slowly, confidently. Like they'd done this 100 times before. We sprinted through the woods for nearly an hour before finding the highway. I guess we are the only couple made it so far. A truck driver picked us up just before dawn. When police finally searched the property later that morning, the cabin was empty. No tunnels, no monitors, no photographs, nothing. The Airbnb listing vanished that same day. So did the host account. Police eventually decided we'd suffered some kind of shared paranoid episode, stress-induced hallucinations. That's the official explanation. But 2 weeks ago, I received an unmarked package at my apartment. Inside was a flash drive. Only one video file was on it. The title read, "Vermont Experience, Audience Favorite." I never opened it, because taped to the drive was a handwritten note. "We hope to see you again." Thanks for sipping tonight's tale with Haunted Brew. Don't forget to subscribe, and sleep tight if you still can.